This is the 2018 School-Based Studies contact class. For your information, I'm going to show you what you have to concentrate on. First of all, the tutor information. I am Christa Nell, and there you see my cell phone number. Communication to me, if I do not answer, SMS your question to me. I do not work at IOL and have no access to the information. So do not ask whether I received your SBS guide, whether I marked your SBS guide, or when you will receive your marks. You may ask for guidance about the completion of the assignment, about your SBS guide. Then the information, some guidance. The SBS assignment, almost all the questions are from the study guides. Please answer all the questions, otherwise your guide will be sent back to you. All the questions will be marked, and start immediately with the assignments. If you wait until the last moment, you will not be able to finish on time. Then number 2.2, the SBS guide. Written lessons and presentations. Read the following information in your SBS guide. The number of lessons you have to write and present. It's in the beginning of your book. The number of lessons the assessor teacher must evaluate. And then your lesson preparations. The lesson preparation forms of the school differs from the IOL presentations and preparations. You must use the IOL preparation forms to prepare your number of lessons. Whether it is 6 or 10 lessons, you will see. It depends on which phase you are in. How to plan your lesson preparation in the guide. Attached is a guide to explain each component of the IOL lesson preparation form. In your SBS guide are several examples of lessons. Read them together with the attached example, especially the phase 1 students. Then the evaluations, the forms in the guide. There are 2 evaluations. The presentations in the classroom. Your assessor do these evaluations and use the evaluation forms. You will see it's from page 72 up to 91 in your study guide. The assessor does not evaluate the written lesson, but they just sign at the top in the space indicated. And then on page 94, the record of teacher assessed lesson scores. Your assessor teacher will write the mark and sign as well. The written lessons. These will be marked by the tutor only, and you will receive a mark for your preparation. Now, how to complete the evaluation form. All the components, criteria have to be completed or evaluated. There must be numbers, not just a tick or a 0. Make sure that the grades and final grades are completed. On page 70 and 71 is an explanation and example of how to do these calculations. And then the forms to be completed. The weak and strong points on page 92 must be completed. So there will be 2 paragraphs. This is the first page that the tutor opens when he starts marking. So please write enough, make a good impression. This is the page where you can boost but indicate weak points, showed out by you to you as well. The record of teacher assessed lessons on page 93. Ensure that this is fully completed and the teacher's signatures are there. This is the proof that you were assessed by the teacher in the class. The record of lesson presentations on page 94 must be done. Proof that you presented the lessons should be fully completed and signed by the teacher. The principal report form on page 95 The principal can complete the one in the guide, not very confidential then, or may complete it on the copy that you received along with this letter. Please attach it to your study guide before you submit your documents. This letter is the proof that you were at the school. And then, redos. Wait until you receive your marked guide to use what was wrong and what to improve on before you start with a redo, should you have to redo something. There is a final submission date for the redos on the letter you received, so keep to this date. Redo for lesson preparation, just improve on any 6 lessons that are in your study guide. Use the lesson preparation forms that you received with the guide. And then the final dates for SBS guides and redos will be indicated in the letter, normally a week after you completed your SBS time at the school. Should you submit late, the same rule applies as for assignments. Now the guidance about your written lessons, the instructions. Use the IOL lesson preparation forms, not those of the school. It differs. Write the lesson that you are going to present tomorrow, for you do it today. Hand it in neat work. Read this handout together with examples in the SBS guide. Your planning, lesson planning, pages 19 up to 68. Pre-presentation component. The syllabus topic in your study guide. You can get this information from the class teacher or the assessor, the syllabus. It is also supposed to be available in your assessor teacher or class together for the teacher's scheme of work. The situation analysis. This is about the knowledge the learners in your class have regarding the topic you are going to present. For example, if you do SBS in January, you will find that most of the learners cannot count. But if you do your SBS in September, you will find that the most learners can count. If your learners already have the knowledge, it means you can start on another level. If they don't have the knowledge, you have to start at a lower level. You can ask the teacher for this information. You can start your written lesson preparation, all learners in the class, or you can say most of the learners in the class have prior knowledge. For example, they can count from 1 up to 10, or the learners cannot count. Then the learning outcome. This is what you want the learners to know, what the learners will be able to identify at the end of this period. For example, the sentence will always start with, by the end of this lesson or period, the learners will be able to count from 1 up to 10, or write the numbers from 1 up to 10, or whatever, identify the resources of water, depending on your lesson that you are preparing. All your planning and presentations will focus around your lesson outcome. The learning outcome is the most important aspect in your lesson preparation. Then you will see that there are broader outcomes. This is where you explain why this learning outcome is so important. For example, counting is part of daily life. We count every day of our lives. We count money, we count cattle, we count chickens. We need water to drink, or for cooking or washing. Therefore, we must look well after our resources of water. The resources indicate the materials, equipment, consumables, internet sites that you are going to use. Please, the resources are not the learners in the class. Things that you can use to explain your lesson better. We all know that learners learn better, remember better when they see what you present and when you are actively involved and can touch or handle the objects. This is the reason why resources are so important. For example, objects For example, 10 stones or lids of bottles to count. Indicate your resources in your written lesson. This is B1 and B2. The tutor wants to read in your written preparation when and how you are using your resources. The presentation component. Read your instructions, number and describe the steps. Please people, steps. And follow this instruction. Read your instructions, number and describe in steps. The steps are numbered for you, so every step should start with a capital letter and a full stop at the end of your sentence. Use one step per line. Focus on teacher activities, no lesson information, no learner activities, they are not steps. And think before you ink. Plan your steps before you write. We hope that you understand now why you should not wait till the end of the SBS to write your lessons. You prepare the one day for the next day. So you prepare your lesson which you are going to present the day before. The introduction, motivation and focus phase. During your SBS period at the school, you will see and experience the order before each lesson. This introduction phase is the starting point of your lesson, and you have to plan something to gain the attention of the learners to get focused on the presentation. It can be an activity or a song or questions, a short story, a whistle, a puppet. You can use a resource. Information processing phase. Now that you have the attention of the learners, you can start presenting your lesson. Focus on teacher activity, no learners activity, the lesson information. Present and explain the information to the learners. Remember to use the resources and describe the steps you are following. The closure. This is B3, the recap, the assessment phase. Now you plan something to find out whether the learners understood your lesson, whether your lesson was successful. And then the last part. This is the final part of your lesson. During this phase, you can summarize the main points, ask the questions, or do an activity to find out whether your lesson was successful. If more than half of the class react positive on your questions and activity, the lesson was successful. Now you can gather your materials and put it away for the teacher to start the next lesson. Do not write teacher assess the slow learners. How do you assess them? So you must inform, is it a test or are you asking questions? Final remark. IOL aims to teach you the correct way to prepare for lessons. Yes, your school shouldn't do it, but IOL can say that you were trained to prepare correctly. Right, and then in general, the contact classes, your writing, handwriting, please, people, you have to print. Because you are a teacher, especially the ones teaching grade 0 up to grade 4, you have to print. Your handwriting is very, very important. Don't write too long sentences. That's most of the problems that we are getting are the long sentences, especially we are having to do with the steps. The language is very important. Remember, you are the teacher, you must speak and write correctly. The punctuation is very important. Paragraphs are important. Your spelling mistakes, a lot of spelling mistakes. And please read your questions for your assignment before you start. If you don't understand the question, use a dictionary. And use study material, books, your study guide. B1, B2, B3, that's your lesson preparations. One line is one step. It's not a paragraph or a composition. Your time must be indicated in minutes. You will see there's a space where you have to put in the minutes. For example, B1, 5 minutes. B2, 20 minutes. B3, 5 minutes again. If the question says list, you have to list. That's only words that you are writing down. And do not repeat your questions in your assignment. Internet sites, you can use it. You should know about internet sites. And remember that every teacher is an English teacher. There are 3 components of your SBS studies. It is your presentation, where the tutor is going to visit you at school or your class teacher is going to evaluate you. It is also your assignment that you have to answer all the questions. We are marking 100 marks of those. And your lesson preparations is the 3rd component. That is where we mark 6 lessons. And start early. Do everything. When we get the study guide, we start from the back of the book. And we check whether you have the principal's letter or the principal's report. It has to be done. It's not so confidential because it's about you. And this is a learning curve. You have to learn. We are looking for, at the back of the book, also, you will see we are looking for the lesson presentations. Then, this is now on page 93. We are looking at the assessed lessons. Everything has to be there. The date, the theme, the topic, the assessment, the score. And please don't let the teachers give you 100% or 99.9%. Between 60 and 70, that's good enough. Especially when you are phase 1. You are still learning. You are not Minister of Education. And the signature of the teacher has to be there as well. And then, page 92, we look at that page. We read your weak and strong points. So there must be 2 paragraphs. The one is the weak points, and the other paragraph is the strong points. So we are going through that. And when you are making a lot of spelling mistakes, it discourages the tutor. The lesson evaluation forms must be done by your assessor teacher. And then you know that you have to do your lesson preparations. There are 25 of those. You will see how many you have to do. It must be done neatly, correctly, in time. And then also you have your assignment that you have to fill in. Right. So good luck. Do your work. You will see it will go well.